that it was like flooded with oligarchs, including Miriam Adelson and tech overlords, and no working people, the very working people that Donald Trump and JD Vance campaigned on rescuing. It was just like a series of billionaires and maybe a couple of token family members.
Yeah, I mean, they had like union guys at the RNC, the Republican National Convention, but when it came down to the inauguration indoor event, maybe they were moved to the Capital One Arena, but they didn't actually get access. Here's Mark Zuckerberg and Lauren Sanchez. Become a meme. Lauren Sanchez is the girlfriend of Jeff Bezos, or are they married? I don't know. When I was in, we're going to be releasing a documentary on Puerto Rico, the exploitation of Puerto Rico. When I was there with Jeremy Lafredo a few weeks ago, Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos' yacht was docked there in San Juan. It's like a gigantic pirate ship, has like a crew of 40 people. And no one knew why it was there, or what plans they had for Puerto Rico. But the sense was they're up to no good. Lauren Sanchez basically showed up wearing a bra. Mark Zuckerberg's there. Next to them was Sam Altman and a few other tech overlords. Their combined wealth is about $1 trillion. And the role of Donald Trump, it appears, will be to take money from us, $500 billion for some new AI Skynet system. What do they call it? Stargate. It's a gigantic initiative. It's kind of like it's kind of like the substitute for a massive domestic manufacturing program. And it was just like it just feels like the whole. I think, is Larry Ellison presiding over it from Oracle? Larry Ellison is an ultra-Zionist CEO of Oracle, which is a CIA contractor. He's called for domestic drone surveillance to replace typical police, funded the campaigns of multiple GOP candidates, and then supported Trump. And I think he's going to oversee Stargate. And, Trump's role is to basically take our money and put it in their pockets to play with, to develop these AI systems to compete with China, which just rolled out a $5.5 million system this week called DeepSeek, an AI system which is tested much higher in accuracy than ChatGPT, the other mechanisms, Meta's AI. It cost $5.5 million, and they used old NVIDIA chips. So NVIDIA's stock has gone down by 10%. I mean, this is already kind of a disaster, and it really raises questions about Stargate. Back to Mark Zuckerberg. In the days before Trump's inauguration, Mark Zuckerberg announced that he was getting rid of censorship on Facebook, which Meta owns, or at least the fact-checking cartel. This was after destroying the Grayzone. Like, we're totally destroyed there, Aaron. We don't even post on Facebook anymore. There's no point. None of our posts would get any traction. They were just suppressed no matter what we did. And it's so many other independent outlets were destroyed, but now he's getting rid of it to accommodate
today, because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression. I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people.
Well, it wasn't a mistake to censor us, and it wasn't a mistake to censor so many. So many publications on Facebook were censored, demonetized. I think Electronic Intifada was. I think the Cradle is totally banned. These are all like U.S. government orders. That's not an accident. But now he's restoring free speech because this was a big component of the MAGA movement. Conservatives and right-wingers feel like very correctly, legitimately, like their opinions have been suppressed and that these mechanisms were designed to suppress their opinions. The counter disinformation industry was basically rolled out to counter Trump and prevent the rise of populism after 2016, 2017. It also targeted leftists who were anti-imperialist or just anti-imperialist in general. So we were targeted by the Nina Jankowiczes of the world. But conservatives are furious about this. So Zuckerberg wants to cater to them. He's added Dana White from the UFC, the UFC CEO, to the board of Meta. Another obvious sop to the Trumpist base. By the way, Dana White's represented by Ari Emanuel, arch-Zionist, Hollywood super agent and brother of Rahm Emanuel. He represents UFC. Is this sincere? Like, is Zuckerberg being sincere here, or what is his agenda? And why has he totally changed his image? Like, I saw someone on Twitter say he looks like an alien who's trying to look like a Dominican.
Well, Trump won. That's what happened. Would Zuckerberg be doing this if Trump hadn't won? Of course not. He's just trying to suck up to the people now in power. There's always been talk about Facebook being too powerful, it being the target of federal oversight, and so he's currying favor. It's obvious. He's lining up to kiss the ring. Now, doing so happens to intersect with, as you pointed out, the fact that people considered me on the right and other voices who are like not part of the like bipartisan neoliberal neocon establishment, they were censored. So it's true, but it's not as if he's had some sort of like sudden come to Jesus moment. Like he's just had a come to Trump moment, and that's what he's doing. And again, the test will be Palestine, because what unites the Trump camp with the Democrats, Joe Biden and everyone else, is their contempt for Palestinian freedom and their contempt for people who express support for Palestinian freedom. So will Zuckerberg not be censoring pro-Palestine voices? Like, I recall some articles that I wrote about Palestine were just automatically removed by Facebook, just gone. And will that policy be ceased? Is there a true commitment to like stopping with the censorship? I strongly doubt it. I think on issues that where Trump is that Trump favors, I do think maybe we'll see less censorship, and that's fine. I mean, like the Hunter Biden laptop story, that wouldn't happen now, the censorship now, but will.
Can you just recapitulate that really quickly, like in 10
Well, the
seconds?
New York Post, so right before the 2020 election, the New York Post published factual articles based on the contents of Hunter Biden's laptop, and Facebook, Twitter censored any links sharing the articles and even locked out the New York Post from their accounts on Twitter. And the pretext was that this might be Russian disinformation, as former intelligence officials had warned. And before the story came out in the Post, the FBI, knowing that Hunter Biden's laptop was out there, because the FBI had a copy of it, they ran some training session with like top social media executives about a possible Russian hack and dump operation right before the election. And they even like one of the scenarios was like information about Hunter Biden. So the FBI, despite their denials, now had primed social media companies to do this kind of censorship. And that was ridiculous. That was outright election interference. And Facebook took part in that. And so we won't see partisan behavior like that anymore. But when it comes to Palestine, I'm not hopeful for anything different.
And in Zuckerberg's testimonies, various testimonies before Congress, he's basically said he was compelled to do all this by the government. So on the one hand, he's probably personally resentful, but here's what I think. And that's such an important case to bring up, the Hunter Biden laptop. True information, true facts were prevented from reaching the American public by Facebook under government orders. So yeah, less censorship, great. But that's not why he's changed his image. That's not why he's brought Dana White onto his board. That's not why he's against woke. As you said, Aaron, it's about federal regulation. I think the most extreme critique, extremely negative critique that anyone could have of Mark Zuckerberg or any of these people who are seated there with Trump is absolutely true. In April, there's a trial set before the Federal Trade Commission seeking to unwind Meta's merger with Instagram. They're also being investigated for the algorithms on Instagram, which target children to make the app more addictive to children. There are so many FTC investigations, as well as Consumer Financial Protection Board investigations into Meta, Facebook, as well as the other major Silicon Valley social media companies. And all he wants to do is get out from under these investigations. And this is going to define the Trump administration, is deregulating the major social media companies that agree to promote his agenda and participate in this AI boondoggle. And we'll pay for it. And it will have massive social consequences, as Sam Altman has acknowledged. Sam Altman being the founder of OpenAI, who Elon Musk hates because he gave him a bunch of money and now he's a competitor and is making it for profit.
I still expect, although I don't know what, and this is over a long period of time. This is not a like next year or, the year after that kind of thing. But over a long period of time, I still expect that there will be some change required to the social contract, given how powerful we expect this technology to be. I'm not a believer that there won't be any jobs. I think we always find new things to do. But I do think like the whole structure of society itself will, be up for some degree of debate and reconfiguration.
Just there might be some jobs left after this is all over, after we win, after Stargate takes over, but not many. And so we're gonna have to change the social contract. Is there a debate about this, by the way?
No, there's none. And it's, the Trump team came to power by offering people this vision that they were going to restore the past when people had jobs that were decent, offered them decent futures. While meanwhile, all these people, Elon Musk and Sam Altman, their vision of the future is just everybody being mass replaced.
Yeah,
I was in Whole Foods a few months ago, and there was all this construction going on right in the middle of like the checkout area, and everyone was going on as if everything was normal, and just people were just going around all this construction and not really like no one was really paying attention. And then you go back in and you see what they were building was just automated checkout terminals to replace the workers. And now you just see far less workers in there. And yeah, that's more efficient for the company.
With cameras, like hundreds of cameras hovering over you.
Yeah. And that to me is just like it's a metaphor for what our government is doing. While we're all going about our lives, they're just building this future that makes more and more people expendable. That's their vision of efficiency. That's what they're obsessed with.
There's a DC Whole Foods that tried that as a pilot program, but people like me figured out that you could go in there and you take your cardboard salad bar container and stuff it with as much stuff as possible, because there isn't a human there to weigh it, and they just charge you per container. And so you can get away with like $40 of food in one container. And so like it became like the best spot to get a really cheap series of lunches. And so they actually had to scrap the model. So if they bring that back, I mean, they're still unable to completely control everything, but in the interest of total control, the CIA contractor, Larry Ellison, who's to be in charge of the $500 billion Stargate project, AI project that Trump is launching, he has some interesting ideas about societal control.
the police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. And it's unimpeachable. The cars have cameras on them. We have, I think we have a squad car here someplace. But those kind of applications using AI, if we can use AI, and we're using AI to monitor the video. So if that altercation that occurred in Memphis, the chief of police would be immediately notified. It's not people that are looking at those cameras. It's AI that's looking at the camera. No. You can't do this. It would be like a shooting. That's going to be immediately, that's going to be an event that's immediately, an alarm is going to go off. It's going to be, and we're going to have supervision. In other words, every police officer is going to be supervised at all times
by robots.
And the supervision will, and if there's a problem, AI will report the problem and report it to the appropriate person, whether it's the sheriff or the chief or whomever we need to take control of the situation. We have, same thing. We have drones. We just, if there's something going on in a shopping center, and I'll stop, a drone goes out there, get there way faster than a police car. There's no reason for, by the way, high-speed chases. You shouldn't have high-speed chases between cars. You just have a drone follow the car. I mean, it's very, very simple. And the new generation of autonomous drones.
Sounds pretty dystopian. Sounds like he wants AI to be this global dictator, and all of us will live in a much more elegant version of Gaza. Maybe a little bit more like a cross between Gaza and the UAE, but with like middle American characteristics. Cameras everywhere, drones pursuing you, AI basically controlling human police. And that's what this all seems to be pointing to, and replacing all workers. Skynet, Stargate is the pathway to Skynet. And, you look at the replacement, or the Zuckerberg abandoning the, international fact-checking, Pierre Omidyar funded coalition of fact-checking dweebs and all the counter disinformation, Nina Jankowicz, nanny state Karens. That's a bad model. We hate the model. Everyone hates the model. Nobody asked for that. There's no consent from the public. It upends the successful liberal propaganda model that Ed Herman and Noam Chomsky and Michael Parenti critiqued, which makes you believe that you're consenting and that you have freedom when in fact you're being imprisoned and your thoughts are being monetized. What they're planning with their free speech model or freer speech model on these corporatized, privately owned social media platforms is a method for hoovering up all of our thoughts, all of our words, our opinions, and feeding them into AI to perfect this ultimate panopticon system that Larry Ellison is laying out there right now. That's what freedom of speech means to Elon Musk and the tech overlords seated prominently at Trump's inauguration. At least that's the way I see it.